As a public school administrator, I've got to tell you that April 20th brings a lot of anxiety. I don't know how much you know about April 20th and what goes on, particular in schools and typically public schools. But one of the things that happens is, you first have the association of the 420, associated with smoking marijuana, and you hear the stories of what kids are talking about doing or going to do, and then of course you add on to that the history of Columbine and what happened on April 20th. And so there's always those stories of students shooting or some type of act such as injuring other people, and so you got those built in there. And then you've got the day of silence, which has been around for a few years, and again you worry about the school safety and what people are going to do and say to each other. And then finally this year we added into the school walkout, and although politically you understand what people want to say and do, the fear of telling everybody in the world that all of our kids are going to be walking out the door at this particular day and time, and not being able to protect them brings a lot of anxiety. And for each of us, we have those days of anxiety, and there's certain times of the years that maybe we have more anxiety. But for me, April 20th as a school in general, that brings some anxiety. But I know as a Christian that God promises, to cast those anxieties, cast those fears, cast those worries up on Him. And I did, and I do. But I'm more like a modern day fisherman with my cast. I throw that thing way out there, and I reel it right back in. I throw it out there, and I reel it back in. When Jesus was telling the Israelites this story, the Jews this story, they would understand that the idea of this cast, that was not the idea to reel it back in, but it's just as hard and as far as you could throw it. Well, I do, but I reel it right back in. I have a hard time letting it go. God's intention was more like us casting that modern day fishing pole out there as far as we can, cutting the line and walking away. He says, I'm the author and creator of all things. I could take care of all things. I could do all things. My intention is for you to have life and life to the fullest. And when we have anxiety in our life, that is not a full life. That's a worrisome life. That even we know with modern science that anxieties and worries actually are harmful to our bodies. And God says, I know that already. That's why I told you, give it to me. And I think ultimately that is the goal, is to cast that rod in the reel, cast that way out there, cut the line, walk away. But if for some reason we're not quite there yet, I think the next step to that, the step right below that, is to cast it out. And when we get it back in, we reel it back in, to remember, oh man, God told me to give it to you. So cast it right back out there. And if it takes multiple times to cast it out there until we can finally cut that line and walk away, just keep casting. Keep casting. Until one day, with that full faith in God, you can cut the line and walk away.